Welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm joined in studio in Melbourne with Jordan Kidis. Jordan, welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
That's
good to have
good.
you down in fresh, cold, freezing Melbourne.
Yeah, freezing. I think this morning when I woke up and went downstairs to the lobby, it was like 3 or 4 degrees, which was very crispy. I had 3 layers on, had a jumper and a big puffer jacket. I was still cold.
Well, today we're going to do our coffee chats catch
Yes.
up, where if you haven't listened to some of the others in the past, we just kind of catch up. We talk about business, what's been going on, general chit chat.
What's been going on?
I was going to say we normally have a chit chat over a coffee, but we've already had our coffees this morning.
Yeah, that's all right. We're due for another one soon.
Yeah, it's been busy. Inflection's been busy. I feel like a few months ago sort of like alluded to the fact that we were kind of moving in a slightly different direction. We had a bit of our service offering was sort of changing a little bit and we were morphing. Anyway, we finally built our systems and processes around that, which is really exciting, which essentially just means that we've moved away from execution of particular services like Google Ads and Facebook advertising and paid advertising. And we're doing a lot more like creative strategy and like bigger picture strategy focus consulting work, which is really fun. And I think personally, I really enjoy it. It's much more like zoomed out, bigger picture sort of conversations rather than getting hyper focused on a particular area of business. But what about you? What's been going on in Grey Space?
A lot. We're continuously growing and just trying to stay on top of that. Mm-hmm. Something that I've been focusing on the last month or so is preparing to go away on a holiday, which has been a bit tricky. I mean, it's the first time I'm going away for an extended period of time, being about 3.5 weeks. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound that extended, but for me, it feels like I'm going away for like 5 years. So it's just about, good. Yeah. Just pretty much working as much as possible up until the day I leave, which is hard. But I don't know. I think like I had a bit of a moment on the weekend where I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, there's always going to be something that's left over. You're going to have to just lean on the staff and lean on the systems that we use and it'll all be fine. I think it's just a bit of a mental block, to be honest. I mean, like I was supposed to go camping with a few friends on the weekend. I didn't go because I just worked Saturday and Sunday. So a bit disappointed, but apparently it was a really good trip, but it was cold.
Do you feel like it's helping you feel more at ease with being away from the business for, I guess, almost a month?
I don't know. I'll let you know when I get back. We'll do a recap when I get back. Look, all of our systems and whatnot, everything's online. When I say going away, like I'm not the type of person that's just going to be able to turn the laptop off for 3-4 weeks. So I'll still be checking things, checking in with the team.
Stuff.
Yeah. Checking in with the team, making sure we're making progress on everything. I'm not going to be able to switch off, and I don't want to switch off.
Yeah.
Whether that's right or wrong, it's just how I feel about it. So it's going to be a good test of all of our systems. Like the whole business is in the cloud. So I'm not too fussed about, not having oversight. The time zones are a bit wonky going to Europe. So I think when it's morning here in Australia, it'll be about 1-2 o'clock where I'm going.
Yep.
Which is fine. So hopefully a lot of the fires have already been put out by the time I wake up. But it should be good. It'll be good. It'll be an interesting one, and I'll definitely report back on how it went. Yeah.
I mean, you're lucky that you've got Dan and you've got some senior advisors in there that, can really take some of that mental load. Yeah. And your team's so skilled at what they do.
We'll see. No, they are. They are. It's just, it's hard. I just don't want to hinder the growth or the quality of work to drop off. So it's just about a bit of a mental block and being able to let go of that. It'll be fine. I know it'll be fine. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Have you got a bit of a plan in place for when you are overseas of like just, I'm going to clock on for an hour every day or,
in my head, I've told myself like when I wake up, the first half an hour, go through my emails, even if it's 10-15 minutes, any like high level things that I need to check in with our A-level clients. But the team's fine. The team will be fine. It's more so if anything goes wrong where I need to step in. But again, I have full confidence that the team will be able to take care of everything. But it's hard as a business owner, and I'm sure people listening have had the same issue, or if not, they will experience it one day where if you were to go on holidays, it's especially if it's just you, that'd be tough because everything would stop.
Yeah.
Everything. Like I'm lucky where I've got Dan and I've got staff that work for me that we can lean on people, and keep the machine turning. Whereas if you're a solo business owner, that's just not the case.
Yep.
I mean, I can only imagine like your phone is like the main point of contact, and if you're uncontactable, then you'll lose momentum. If you go away for a week, it may take a month. Sorry, it might take you 2-3 months when you get back to find your feet again. So I think it'd be harder if it was just myself. I'm lucky where I do have Dan as well. I remember when we first started the business, I went away for, I think it was about a week, and it was just Dan, me, Dan, and I think we had one other staff member. But like that was fine because I had Dan there. But if it was just myself, it would have been chaos.
Yeah. Even if it's just, you said like clocking on for, 15, 30 minutes, it then is going to put your mind at ease for the rest of the day too, rather than being like, oh, what's going on? I better quickly check my phone. Like,
I know the type of person that I am, that if I don't do that, I will not enjoy whatever I'm going to go out and do for the day.
Yeah, because you won't be able to.
No, my mind will be
somewhere else.
Yeah.
Whereas if you clock on, you do that, you are like, kind of put your mind at ease. You're like, okay, anything that needed to be dealt with, any fires, I'm on top of and I'm aware of.
Yep.
And if there's not fires, then I know that there's no fires.
Yep.
And I know the team's got it under control.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. So what about you? You're going on mat leave soon.
I am going on mat leave soon.
Fantastic.
Yes.
How are you feeling about it?
Good now. I think we've had a bit of just a turbulent year in the sense of like I said a bit earlier, changing service offering. We've had changing team members. We've had people come in. We've had people leave. We've had crossovers. And so it's just been navigating all of that. Yeah. I think kind of where we were last year and maybe what the business was focusing on is super different to where we are now, which I'm so much more excited about where we are now.
Tell me more. Tell the listeners more.
Tell the listeners more. Well, we're doing a lot more, I guess, like creative strategy. We're doing like, I guess it's shifting away from like a paid performance agency and more towards like a creative strategic consulting agency, which I'm super passionate about in terms of like business strategy and not just focusing on a very isolated insular component of your business. Also, I think in terms of like point of difference, like there's so many businesses out there that offer paid advertising. There's so many freelancers, there's so many marketing agencies that it's like super saturated. And so I think it also where we're kind of moving in terms of like branding and web development and like app development and CRM implementation and that kind of like bigger picture consulting, like advisory board offerings, which we're doing for a few clients. It's also much more aligned to the accelerator program that we've got as well, which again isn't in the, like it's not in the weeds. It is bigger picture conversations that we're having with all of those business owners. So I feel like everything's much more aligned than it was probably 6 months ago.
For sure.
I feel like we've got some really solid team members as well that are just like, I'm super confident in, totally trust, which feels amazing. All of our clients are in a really good position. The accelerator program is like pumping along and there's heaps of people coming in there and it's really exciting and we're making changes there as well. So I think, now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, if the baby comes in like 6 to 8 weeks, we feel good about it. Whereas, maybe in January I was kind of a bit like, oh my God, there's still so much to do. But yeah, so I think it'll be similar where obviously, I don't know what to expect in terms of, what it's going to look like, maternity leave, but I can't see myself, and there might be people that are listening to this that have had kids and they're like, good luck. But I can't see myself totally switching off for like 4 or 5 months. I just can't see my brain not like being able to stop.
Everyone's different.
In saying that, I might be sleep deprived. Who knows?
Everyone's different.
So, I mean, I feel like we've got for Inflection, we've got like a pretty good plan in mind, somewhat loose plan in case things change. But at this stage, I feel good about it.
Good stuff. It's interesting. Everyone's different. There's no right or wrong way to go about doing, whether it's a holiday, whether it's mat leave, two polar opposite things. But everyone's different. And if you have if you have good people around you,
Yeah.
I think it makes a massive difference.
Agreed.
With whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
whatever time off you're taking.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of different components of Inflection. Like obviously we've got the accelerator program, then we've kind of got the agency, and then we've got the podcast that we do.
Yeah.
But between like you, Jordan, you're Jordan.
I am Jordan.
Baby brain. Between like you, Daniel, Owen, and then like the agency team.
Yep.
It's a pretty awesome group of people.
Yeah, I agree. We are awesome.
Yes.
What else? What else has been happening with Inflection? I know you mentioned the whole creative agency thing. Do you want to talk through that in a bit more depth? What's going on there, and even the app side of things?
Yeah. We so we've been scouting for like an app developer for a little while. Just conversations that we've been having. There's things that we've been wanting to do in the accelerator program to try and improve, I guess, like the offering for everyone that's in the group. And some of that has involved looking at ways that we can create an app that supports certain parts and certain resources. So obviously, you know, we have Daniel's like incredible cash flow spreadsheet, but thinking about ways that we can make that, turning that into an app rather than being like a big, you know,
what's wrong with
Excel
spreadsheets? Spreadsheets are the best.
It's a big spreadsheet. But finding ways that we can make, you know, people that maybe don't have the same business, like level of business acumen, that we can make that same resource as accessible to everyone as possible.
Yep.
And so we've been talking about that for a little while. And then we've had a few clients over the last couple of months that are looking at building apps, like service provider apps for their clients. So that's been really interesting. It's been a different kind of, I guess, focus for me over the last kind of 2 or 3 months, is like getting my head around certain software, certain languages, in terms of like coding languages, and, you know, whether it's low code or no code, and how what that looks like, and what software works really well. So that's been really interesting. And then, in terms of the creative, I guess the more creative, quote unquote creative, standard creative, we've been doing a lot of content shoots, which has been fun. Petra and I came and did a content shoot for Grey Space recently.
That was good fun.
That was a very fun day.
I think, I thought it was awesome. I spoke to another client of yours who's a good friend of mine, and we had a chat about it. Like, how did it go? What do you reckon? And both of us were like, it's awesome from like the content perspective. Yeah. But the team bonding during it is fantastic. I mean, there were some videos that we shot, and I couldn't contain myself. I could not stop laughing. And it was just good. It pulls down all the barriers and whatever bureaucratic hierarchy you have. I mean, look, we don't have that, but
if you do,
I mean, like whatever your reporting lines are, it just brings down all the barriers. Free game. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was fun. So Petra, who is living in Bali at the moment, we flew her over. We flew up to Sydney. We were there for 3 days. We did a content shoot for Grey Space. We also did a content shoot for one of our other clients. And then we had a couple of meetings with some potential clients on day 3. But it was a busy period. But I mean, Petra's phenomenal. She, you know, the whole time she just like orchestrated. I was her 2IC. I was just like, from day one that we got there, I was like, all right, you tell me what you need me to do. This is your zone of genius. I will. And she just pushed me around, directed me for 3 days, which was great. And just created some really good content and fun. I think, like you said as well, it was interesting being on the other side of the camera and seeing like the team bonding take place and how it kind of shifted over the course of the day. Yeah. Like at the start of the day, everyone was a bit awkward, you know, other than like you and Dan, and then obviously the owners of the other business, they had like signed up to like mentally be there. But then the team was like, there's a video camera and there's a little microphone. But then within about an hour, everyone sort of like loosened into it. Petra was great at like getting people to do fun things early on. So they kind of settled into it a bit more. It was exhausting, I have to say.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It was really just being on and thinking, and then, you know, seeing a potential situation unfold and be like, oh, we could create content out of this, and then kind of quickly trying to orchestrate that content. But yeah, it was crazy that we got, I think in the half day, or like it was a bit more than that, it was like 6 hours that we were at Grey Space, like 4 months worth of content, which is wild.
Yeah.
We got so much more than we anticipated we would get to. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I think if you've got staff, it's awesome to do just from a cultural perspective as well.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it brought down all the barriers. Everyone was having a laugh. We did some serious, like not serious, but like technical videos too, which was good. But it was also, it was good.
Yeah. And I think like we both businesses, like we were like, we're not doing TikTok dances. That's not what we're here for.
Even though Petra tried.
She did want to. She did want to. But we were like, okay, we're here to create value, share education, and also like showcase the personality of the people in the business.
Yep.
For, hiring purposes, but also for prospective clients to understand kind of who they might be working with. So we didn't quite go down the TikTok dance avenue, but it was still really funny content.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. And I think, like I said, if any business owner can afford it, they've got a bit of a team. It's awesome from a content perspective, but also from building a really good team culture perspective as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else has been happening? What else have you been working on?
So we've had quite a few branding projects come through recently, which is rebranding, which is really cool. So some bigger companies that we're still kind of working kind of the finer details out. But yeah, we've had a company based in WA that is doing like a big rebrand. They're like doing a new name, a new logo. They've gone with a new website. And so we've been helping them. It's a 6-month kind of marketing strategy, or like a rebranding strategy, really.
Yep.
And so part of the conversation that we're having with them is obviously the very basic, logo development and new colors and that sort of thing. But the other stuff that we've been doing, or we are doing, is helping to develop like marketing communication in terms of like taglines and slogans that can be associated with the business. We're building out email communication, iconography through the rebrand as well that's taking place. And then so this client in particular is also like moving spaces. So then it's helping them, with signage and making sure that they've got all the right collateral, digital assets, physical assets in terms of, notepads and pens and T-shirts and clothing and that sort of stuff. So that's been really fun, as well as all of the other components like engaging stakeholders and helping them with communication with stakeholders and getting feedback on the work that's being created before it goes live. So I'm really excited for this project as well. We're about 2 months into it, so we've still got a little while to go. But it's fun. It's really fun. Yeah.
If any of our listeners want to see what the end result of the branding projects look like, you can jump onto our website, so gsadvisory.com.au. The Inflection team did the entire rebrand and it was awesome. So check it out. Let us know what you think, and if you don't like it, tell us why.
Yeah, give us feedback.
Yeah, give us feedback. So it's awesome. And before we went on this journey with your team, we had no idea. We're just like, it's just a logo and whatever. But like the amount of sit downs that we had with different, what are they, mood boards? Concepts.
Yep.
Like different concepts. And then from that concept, there'd be another 3 variations. And we're like, oh, dude, what? So it is a process. It does take time, and there's a lot of work that goes into it, which, with all due respect, I had no idea about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Dan designed our logo in 5 minutes, our original logo. So, but yeah, I think once your business is up and running, and like for me personally, and correct me if I'm wrong, Zara, but at the start, I don't think these big projects are important because there's so many other things to spend money on. But I think once you're established and you do have a bit of a presence in the market, awesome idea to do a bit of a brand refresh. And I know you do 2 types of it. There is that refresh, but there is that complete overhaul of the branding as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think in those first couple of years, just focus on getting a product or a service that is deliverable and that you can do really well, get some money in the bank. And then once you're kind of in a position where you have a client base, you've got some feedback, kind of what your values are, what you stand for, then you can kind of look at a rebrand or a refresh. And the difference is like a refresh is kind of, okay, we're not going to change your logo. Maybe we're going to, keep most of the same colors, but we're going to, maybe incorporate some new ones here. And it's just essentially like a facelift.
Yep.
Whereas a rebrand
Love a good facelift.
From scratch. Oh, you've had a couple?
1 or 2.
Or a rebrand is essentially being like, cool, this is what we stand. Yeah. This is where we see our business going into the future. We need to reshape and I guess redesign how we show up digitally to navigate the next, however many years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important. It's important. I have a question for you that's not in our notes.
Yeah.
So it'll come a bit
That's okay.
left field.
Yikes.
What meeting cadence do you use?
In terms of with clients or
internally
as a team?
Yeah.
So we do a locked in team meeting every Tuesday.
Yep. And what do you go through there? Is it a set agenda?
Yeah. So we do our weekly team meeting, I guess, is more like a weekly whip of like, where are we at? Are there any fires? Any major projects we're working on, kind of keeping one another in the loop.
Yep.
And then once a month, and that might go for like half an hour.
Yep.
And then once a month we do like a bigger deep dive, which could be like a 60 to 90 minute kind of conversation. That's usually at the start of the month.
Yep.
And that's everyone comes in and we go, okay, what are our goals for the month? What are our big clients coming on board? Who's coming into the agency? Who's coming out? Do we need to do any onboarding or offboarding? Obviously talking about like after we've done our reporting, then we're kind of rethinking about strategies for the clients. So what are we focusing on? What do we need from clients to make sure that we can give them the best results possible for the month? And then obviously we have Slack and, we talk all the time. But they're kind of the two core, I guess, meetings that we do.
Yeah, okay.
And then obviously at the start and middle and end of the year, we do like vision meetings and
Interesting.
that sort of stuff.
The reason I ask is I do a meeting with our team. Well, I do my team. Dan does his team. Dan does it different to me. So I do it every Monday, Wednesday and Friday where we just discuss workflow.
Yep.
Dan does, I think it's a 10-minute catch up every day.
Yep.
Which is just the top
level.
Yeah, like your top 3 priorities, I think it is. Any issues or anything like that. And it's something that I've been thinking about the last couple of weeks on how I want to structure mine and if mine are being done the best way. I don't know if they are.
Okay.
So I was just curious how you do them because I know that in a few different, I've been reading quite a bit about meeting agendas. So in a lot of them, they do talk about like any really pressing issues. If you have a client or customer, whatever industry you're in, where there's something that needs to be done like really quickly. In our case, it could be financial statements and tax returns for a client that's going for a loan. So like that needs to be a priority. And I'm just trying to structure the meetings and I want to try and do it before I go away.
Yeah.
So I can try it next week and then stress test it when I'm not here. I don't know how that's going to go, but yeah, I just want to make those 10 or 20 minute meetings like really efficient. And I just want to make sure that people are getting not value. I don't know what the right word is, but everyone knows what they need to do.
Yep. And I guess you don't want a meeting for the sake of having a meeting.
Yeah, correct.
I think that's, I've worked in companies before where we've had a team meeting for this like level of people. We've had a team meeting for this. We've had a team meeting for this. And you end up spending like 3 hours of your day in a meeting.
Yeah,
which means there's so many people that aren't actually able to execute any of the work that you're talking about executing.
Yep.
So I think meetings for the sake of meetings or meetings for the sake of micromanagement's the wrong word, but like meetings for the sake of being like, I've touched base with my staff and I feel good about it.
Yes.
Isn't the right reason. I think it's like, cool, what's the purpose? What are we getting out of this? And then kind of shaping it around that. And I think maybe it might help to, I was trying to think whether it was, because I don't know about, I mean, I know a few people do like a few businesses do a 10-minute meeting. I think Owen, like Rask, do like a daily meeting. Or maybe they do a Tuesday and a Thursday meeting. I think it depends maybe on the size of your team as well, like because the team that we've got in Inflection is relatively small, so we still touch base if there's any kind of heightened client concerns. I guess it depends also maybe on like the level of staff and like their capabilities.
The place you worked at, that bigger agency, did they have a meeting cadence? Was it different for different departments? What did that look like?
It was different for different departments. So in like the client deliverables and like the HR kind of department and people development, which is where I kind of worked, we always had issues in the client deliverables department. Like we called them the accounts team only because they were
doing the actual work.
Doing the actual work. In the accounts team, which we called them the accounts team, not that they were necessarily, they weren't accountants. It was just like the client accounts that we worked on. But there was always fires. There was always things going on. It made up like 65% or 70% of the agency.
Yep.
So it was like there was lots of things, lots of clients, lots of things to consider. There was always new processes being rolled out. So we had like really frequent conversations. So with my immediate team of like the like leadership team or the executive team, I met with them twice a week on a Tuesday and a Thursday.
Yep.
Just being like, I didn't meet on a Monday because I think meetings on Mondays are like not great. I think everyone's kind of like coming in and like figuring out what's gone wrong after the weekend and trying to get on top of priorities. So we did Tuesdays and Thursdays, but then my HR team was, we only met once a week on like a Wednesday, or maybe it was a Tuesday. I can't remember. It was a few years ago now, which was just to kind of be like, cool, who's in our pipeline? Who are we hiring?
Did you have an agenda for all these? Was there a set, like, even if it's just bullet points? They all
it was just like agendas? Bullet points. So everyone kind of knew what to come with, what they had to bring to the table. And it, like, very high level, it was like key priorities for the week, client or like process concerns. So like in the HR team, are we struggling with something? Is there a process not working? Are we getting candidates? In the accounts or like the client deliverables team, it was like, are there any clients in like heightened concern? Are results bad? What is the because we had about 8 kind of, I guess, teams within the accounts team. So I was like, is there a consistent theme here that we need to be talking about? And then, but I know that the sales team had a daily meeting.
Yeah, okay.
And so that was obviously getting across like pipelines, how busy we are, how many clients we're getting, how many prospective clients they're talking to each week. Do pitch decks need to be changed, that sort of thing. Yeah,
okay. So the agenda can change dependent on the type of meeting that it is.
I think so.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. I think it's like as long as or in my mind, as long as you're kind of across, are there any fires or any clients that might be walking out the door? Are there any like big projects or new clients coming on board that we need to get on top of? And then is there any, just if you've got a big team, like any, team HR concerns you need to talk through? We also do at Inflection like a 2-word check-in when we catch up, which essentially is just like, how are you feeling right now? 2 to 3 words. Are you really tired? Are you really happy? Are you a bit off? Like whatever it might be. And then you go, okay, cool. I know where this person is right now. And then if, they say I'm really tired, you can be like, okay, is it, dive into it a little bit. Is it just you had a crappy sleep, or is it like maybe your kids are really sick or whatever, and if you're really great, then, you've got heaps of energy. Just kind of gives you a bit of grace of like where someone is at for the day. And then if you need to check in with people later on in the week too.
Cool. I think it's something I do want to actually, do you think it's not a good idea to change how we do things before I go away?
I think it depends how much you change.
It wouldn't be that much. It'll just be, to be honest, I think it'll just be to have structure.
Well, then I think it's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
I think even if it makes it faster for you to kind of get an overview of where everyone's at and where your clients are at before you jump into the meeting, it's like 10 minutes before, everyone has like 3 questions they have to fill out, like, 3 priorities for the week or 3 priorities for the next 2 days, top concerns, onboarded clients or something like that. And they have to put that in like a dedicated Slack channel before the meeting. So then you can kind of go into the meeting and go, hey, Sarah, I noticed that you said this. And then you're not necessarily asking, if you've got like 5 people in your team, 4 other people to sit there while someone regurgitates what their priorities are for the week.
Yep.
You're just going, okay, concern, let's address that right now. That's going really well. How are you feeling with that workload?
Yeah, okay. I think it is something that I will do. Yeah, for sure. And just in a Slack channel, just have like a canvas and just dump it in there.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
You can have you can set up.
Is that what it's called, a canvas, like those templates?
Yeah, you can just set up like a reminder that gets sent in a channel, tags everyone that's relevant, and it's got like the 3 things that they have to fill out.
Yeah, okay.
And then they just copy that, fill out their things and paste it, and you just have like a, if you're meeting at 10, everyone has to have their things in by 9:45 sort of thing. So then you've got 15 minutes to scan over what everyone's said.
Interesting. I think I'm definitely going to do that. And is that how you would do it? You just have us in Slack channel, like a dedicated Slack channel?
Yep. Yeah, like a Team Jordan.
Yep. Yeah, okay.
Thing.
Interesting. Oh, well, I'll definitely be doing that.
Yeah. And if you could just have like either, it could be a dedicated like meeting agenda channel or like client updates or something, or each week, wherever the thing is, everyone just comments in the thread that's attached to that. So then in terms of you having to go back and source, you know, things.
Yep.
Or like revisit things, you only have to go to find one message rather than like scrolling back to find when Sarah put something, when Jason put something, when this person put something, and they all did it at different times and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
okay, cool.
That could be handy.
Yeah, for sure. And I speak to clients all the time, and they do something similar and it's regardless of the industry as well. Like I know I've got a client and they do every Monday morning, they do like a sales training, and they're tradies. Yeah. So like I think having those dedicated meetings is good for your different departments or different silos. And even if it is just yourself and maybe one or two other people, it's good to get in the habit.
I think so.
So that way you're prepared to scale when the time comes.
Yeah. And then I think it also gives people like they know, it gives them structure as well, you know, and it gives them something to think about every week or like every day or the frequency of it. Like, oh, what are my top priority clients? Yeah. What are my priorities this week? What are my client concerns?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Cool. Well, I think that's something I'm definitely going to do. I'll probably do it over the weekend, and I might even send it to you to look at.
Send it to me. I'll look over it and get back to you.
Yeah, sounds good. And if anyone wants a copy of what the agenda or the process is going to look like, maybe we can have a link in the show notes.
Yes. Yep. Great idea.
And we'll just provide it as a free guide, and then you can chop and change it however you like.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. We'll put a link in the show notes. All our resources of any episode that we discuss in any episode is in the free community, which we put a link in every episode show notes. So it's just called Free Community. It is through a platform called Circle. You go in, all you do is create an account, which is essentially just your name and your email address, gives you something to log into. And you get access to the four of us plus everyone else in our team, and then a whole bunch of resources from, you know, that weekly team meeting to cash flow spreadsheets and social media kind of tools and stuff. So thank you, Jordan. That was a good coffee chat.
Yeah, good stuff. Now I have to do it. I have to do it because I've got to put it in the community. But yeah, thanks, Zara. That was awesome.
Thanks, Jods.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching this video on the Rask Network. While you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get videos each and every day on business, finance, investing, and so much more.